Our UK correspondent Vincent McAviney is in the spin room where the analysis of the debate is underway. So, the snap poll at the end of the debate, Vinny, says that Boris Johnson narrowly came out on top. Is that your analysis too?
Yeah, the polling is pretty split. We saw after the last debate that it was 51% to Boris Johnson versus Jeremy Corbyn's 49%. After weeks of campaigning, it's only inched up 1 percentage point. So in this snap poll, it says that Boris Johnson got 52% and Jeremy Corbyn got 48%, saying that he won. So, I mean, nothing really shifting, it seems, from the debate performance. It was a pretty flat, pretty dull debate that was held here in Kent. And I think that both leaders are simply thinking, well, they didn't make any mistakes. But for Jeremy Corbyn, he missed out on a big opportunity tonight, possibly his last opportunity to have such a big platform as leader of the Labour Party to try to make a real go at challenging Boris Johnson.
52-48, those are numbers that will be quite significant for anybody who voted in that referendum to leave the European Union. And of course, Brexit, the NHS and Truss were some of those recurring issues that we heard in this debate. Again, who do you think managed to get their message across the best?
Well, for Boris Johnson, you know, it felt very much like he was on autopilot when it was putting out those lines. He was simply saying, get Brexit done, an oven-ready deal. That's what we heard, even when it was a question about sort of racism, probably the heated moment of this whole debate about anti-Semitism in the Labour Party and about Islamophobia in the Conservative Party. He brought it back round to that message of get Brexit done, so very much on autopilot. And the Conservative politicians that are here are spinning that Jeremy Corbyn didn't really bring anything new. Jeremy Corbyn, you know, he has decided his tactic tonight was very much to play it safe, when many people thought he needed to do something a little bit more daring tonight. You know, he did produce a document that he'd managed to get hold of, a leaked Treasury document about the future of trade between Northern Ireland and the rest of the United Kingdom, saying that there would have to be some kind of customs checks or barriers. That was a bit of a dramatic moment, but he had already released that document this morning and talked about it. So for Jeremy Corbyn tonight, you know, no major mistakes, but he's going to have to do some pretty dramatic campaigning over the next couple of days, the election taking place on Thursday, in order to try and gain that lead in the polls, because he's been trailing Boris Johnson this whole campaign. He has slowly inched up, but that was largely due to the poor performance of the Liberal Democrat Party so far. But it remains to be seen what exactly he can do now in order to shrink that lead and then try and get, at best, a hung parliament next Thursday where he can try and form some kind of working coalition with the other minority parties.
And you've been travelling across the UK reporting on the upcoming election. Now, tonight there was none of the smaller political parties who were invited to take part in this debate. What chances have those smaller political parties got to shape the outcome of this election?
Yeah, well, I mean, for those parties, you know, the British system is pretty bruising for smaller parties. We have a first-past-the-post system, and it's something that Nick Clegg found a decade ago, despite the big boost that he got personally from doing so well at a debate like this one. He didn't actually gain any seats. He lost one in the 2010 election, and it's just very tricky for the smaller parties because of the way this system works to break through. So, you know, I was down yesterday with the Greens. They think that with the Remain alliance, they've struck with the Liberal Democrats and Plaid Cymru, that they might be in to get one of the seats in Bristol, possibly another one as well. I think the Isle of Wight is the one that they're thinking they could possibly do. The Liberal Democrats, you know, they was with them earlier in the week as well. They say that, you know, Labour is really splitting their vote, but their candidates are claiming that lots of Labour MPs who are really passionate about Europe are deciding to vote for them instead. But, you know, they don't get this big opportunity tonight. There have been other debate formats that they've been participating in, but this tonight was very much a choice between who do you want to be Britain's next Prime Minister. For Boris Johnson, that is with a majority, possibly a small one based on the polls at the moment. But for Jeremy Corbyn, it's very unlikely now that it would be a full Labour majority in administration. He would have to do a deal with the SNP, who want a second referendum, possibly as early as next year, and with the Liberal Democrats as well.
And of course, we'll be covering that election here on Euronews. For the moment, though, Vincent McAviney joining us there from Kent following that debate. Thanks very much.